Hello and welcome to the flagship show edition of the Blue Monday podcast, a 3 times weekly show looking into all things Ipswich Town. I'm your host, Richard Woodward, and I'm delighted to welcome back the Ant and Dec of the podcast, the guys from This Week in ITFC History, Ipswich Town aficionado David Diamond, and
Hello.
Back once again, it's the Renegade Statman. Did I see something there off camera, Stat, while I was talking, or are my eyes deceiving me?
I borrowed a book off Harry.
Okay.
He thoroughly recommended it, and it's great. And I've also going to read Red Mist, which Harry loves as well, which is about the story of Statman in 2002. You can probably explain why I'm mentioning this book and Harry's outburst.
We need to put you guys together, I think, and sort this out once and for all.
I don't think I've ever seen Harry quite so animated over one single subject as his hatred for Roy Keane.
Didn't know what to say while I was recording. I was thinking, this is gold dust, Harry, but I don't know where this has come from.
I know.
So, well, if you want to watch it back, I think Ben clipped it up and put it on Twitter. There's 38 seconds of that. But we'll get Stats rebuttal before we talk about Nottingham Forest, certainly, to balance out the...
I must say, just because of his tenure as an Ipswich manager, I have got more than one foot in the Harry camp, to be fair. But as a player, I've got to admire him as a player.
I feel like a Twitter vote is needed at some point, but let's not divide the fan base even more than it might be at the moment. Let's do some news, guys, shall we? Let's go do a bit of roundup. First up, Bristol City, another 1-1 draw in the bag for us. But another good performance, one at West Brom, one at Bristol City. Who wants to tell us about their thoughts on Bristol City?
Yeah, I mean, Bristol City, a bit like West Brom, could have won it, couldn't we? I mean, other than a sort of 20-minute spell at the end of the first half, I thought we dominated the game, but we're on top. We're certainly on top, I thought. Again, final third really let us down, I think. Again, no real clear-cut chances, I guess. But yeah, we didn't look like. We got the goal, which is an own goal, and was richly deserved, I think. But didn't really test him a lot after that, did we? First half, we did. He made a good save because he was there for the taking. The keeper was shaky as hell, wasn't he? My God. But that summed up our season. That very first 40 seconds when Jackson sort of charged down the keeper's clearance. I mean, that could have easily just spun for Jackson. He just rolls it into an empty net, but no, it spins away, and that's just this sort of how it goes. Just little things. But no, I was really impressed. I thought we played really well, and it was great. Made a lot of changes, and I don't know if someone said it. I think on our forum that was this really the first sign of Lambert not clearing the decks for next season, but saying, well, okay, look, we're pretty much admitting we're down, and just having a look at everybody, particularly Josh Emmanuel brought in, for instance, and Dazelle starting as well. Yeah,
Stat, thoughts on the kind of rotation and whether that's a nod towards next season or not, or just experimenting? What's your thoughts?
I mean, in my mind, he's got to experiment. This is like an extended pre-season, but I think he acknowledged when he was in his press conference, earlier in the week, that some of those changes were valid. And Josh Emmanuel, he'd played midweek, so to give him a break and just break some of these players in. But we're not suddenly going to see Josh Emmanuel playing for the next 8 games. He obviously brought on Idris El Mazouni, so he obviously thought he was good enough from the academy to come through. So just he's like window shopping with his own players, I think. I think he said yesterday that he's got 49 players, and he used the phrase many are on the fringe. So I think many that he needs to look at.
Yep. Yeah, I thought Emmanuel did pretty well on the night, really. Yeah, he did a bit rusty perhaps at first half, but I thought generally he did quite well. I was a little bit disappointed. I'm not saying Starks, I agree with Stat, but a bit disappointed he wasn't in the squad perhaps yesterday. But maybe he knew the score before the game on Tuesday. Lambert was just gonna have a look at him and then revert back to Bree on Saturday.
Exactly right. Well, and it's weird at the moment because these are games against West Brom, similar, and Forest at the weekend, where teams above us, where they're batting for the playoffs, so you kind of expect them to be up for it more than a Hull or a QPR mid-table team who maybe we can turn over. But I think it's good that we're giving them a chance to play against top opposition.
Yeah, I thought probably Tuesday was Dazelle's probably his best game I've seen him playing an Ipswich shirt. Probably, I thought he played well. Yeah, I mean, well in control.
But at the start of the season, if you'd have said, we're going to go to West Brom away and Bristol City away, you'd be kind of saying we at the start of the season would have taken a point, and these are great points. It's just obviously not too little, but it's just too late in the season. But it's a great run, and
yeah, I agree. I mean, Mills, I think, summed it up a little bit. I heard a little bit of him on Radio Suffolk yesterday. Perhaps we're playing with a little bit more relaxed now. We're down. Let's face it, we're down, and we're perhaps playing perhaps with a little bit more freedom. I think that's got a little bit to do with it. I think, but good to see.
Excellent stuff. We'll come back and talk about the draws and kind of what they represent at the end of Forest. That's a bit of a spoiler. But you've got to guess that we're winning. We're drawing 1-1 every time now. Other bit of news Friday night that broke was Luke Chambers' new 2-year contract. It's good news, Dave.
I think so, with a view that we're going to League One. I honestly don't think there's a lot more of him to give at the Championship level. I really don't.
33 now. Although he says age is just a number.
Well, it is, but I think perhaps
I could still do a job.
Yeah, perhaps yesterday, you could see he could still compete against a Murphy, someone like for like, but someone with a little bit of pace. If he gets caught 1-on-1, he's gone, he's lost it. So I can see that at League One level with a view to, because if, as I think we'll have to, we're going to blood more kids next year, bring the kids through. You want someone like Chambers there with experience, and I would think it's with a nod to, when he finishes his playing career, and maybe, with a nod to taking some sort of position on the coaching staff, I would have thought, because he's obviously well thought of. And great captain, great leader, but no, as a Championship player, I think he's run its course with him.
He provides accommodation for some of the academy players, doesn't he? I think Jack Lancaster's dad said that nice. All the players look up to him. Is it kind of a nod to his off the field stuff, the fact it's 2 years, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think he probably thought he could get a 1-year deal. If it was a 1-year deal, I reckon he could have got a 1-year deal better for himself elsewhere. 2 years, I think, was enough to encourage him to sign. And like you say, I think he's got 7 of the academy players in his chalet.
Where does he live? Does he live up Umberducey Lane somewhere? Where does he live?
Yeah, he kind of lives. Well, I'm not going to give.
It's not a mascot in the programme from the 80s, Dave. We're not going to give his name and address.
But funny enough, the other day, it was last weekend. I don't know about you, but the weather it's been so windy all of the time. I'm going out for a walk.
You rescued his trampoline, didn't you? I saw that.
There was a trampoline in a field, and the only house that was around was Luke Chambers' house. So I was walking, and I thought, just knock on his door, and I thought, no, I can't knock on his door. And this went on for about 10 minutes until I got there, and I thought, what would I do if it was anybody else's house? I thought I'd probably knock on the door. So I go up, ring the doorbell, fancy little doorbell with a camera. I could see somebody sitting in there. After about 10 seconds, nobody comes, and I'm thinking, right, okay, I'll go. Well, no, I'll just give the door a knock, just in case the doorbell's not working. So I knock on the door. 5 or 6 seconds later, nothing again. So I walk off.
So you're breaking into a window now, yeah? This is where we go.
He goes round the back, forces a gate.
I go to leave, and then next thing I hear the door open, and then suddenly Luke Chambers appears. I'm thinking, don't be starstruck. So he goes, hello, mate. I said, oh, all right. I said, I don't know if you know about the trampoline. I went, yeah. He said, I need some muscle to move it. And so I said, okay, good, and then left. So that was a bit odd. So I hope if he is going to be here for another 2 years that he's found some guy ropes to keep his
peg it down.
Was he not alluding at that point that he wants some muscle to move?
I thought you were his muscle.
Yep. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready, mate.
Well, no. Sorry.
Did he look at your stature and think, well, he's not up to the job?
No. I did. He took one look at my guns. No, I did say to him, I'll give you a hand.
Just in case it went bad.
Guns. And say no to guns. But yeah,
kids.
You put me off. Yeah, no, I did offer, but clearly it wasn't the right time. And I think I was pleased that I'd done the neighbourly thing, but also felt a little bit embarrassed to tell him that his trampoline was that
wow.
Yeah.
Good neighbourly. He's got 7 academy players. They can lift it. That's a team building.
I read that tweet, Rich. I think it was from Jack Lancaster's dad, who said he's done so much for his son, and it was nice. It was nice to read that.
Yeah, he is a leader off the
he's obviously well
the field, and his experience. Like you say, Dave. I think there's still a chance that we could stay up. But if we do happen to go into League One, I kind of see him maybe with some of the younger players a bit like
Bolton. If Bolton Bolton probably might well go into administration.
Birmingham.
Get anywhere close to it? Do we think?
Until it's mathematically possible, then you've got to what did our previous managers say? The integrity of the league. So we need to don't worry about the cup. But
keep dreaming.
What I would say is. You put me right off my stroke, but yeah, really, very, very pleased that Luke Chambers is
oh yeah, that was what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Finally, Stat, can you tell us about the secret season ticket holders luncheon with Marcus Everyday in the fan zone? What was that? Was it a pie and a pint? And what was the deal?
Yeah, it was. I don't know how secret it was. So I think it was advertised through their social media. No, because I wouldn't have been invited. But yeah, so. If you were a season ticket holder, you could buy tickets. Well, obtain tickets. They were free in advance, and it was quite interesting to see who turns up at 11:30 on match day at Portman Road, basically to get a free pie and a pint. But actually, technically, it wasn't a pint. It was a bottle, 330 millilitres. I didn't want to mention that. Or go back and look at the advertising. Maybe it was pie and a beer. But I'm sure it said pie and a pint. But anyway, apart from that, it's the only grumble I had because it was fantastic. Went in, beer in one hand. Hot pie in the other, and then you were ushered into these seats, and I thought, hang on, I've got my beer and pie. So we sat down, and then there was a fantastic event, really brilliant, put on by Rosie Richardson and her team. It was compared by Brian Hamilton, who kind of is looking a little bit like Frank Carson now, and some of his jokes were a bit like that, but he was fantastic. And we had Leo Neal come in. Paul Lambert came in about midday, so that was great to for him to pop in and have a chat with us before the game. And then we had Terry Butcher, John Walk, and then Mickey Stockwell turned up, I think, quite late because Brian had to sort of fill in. So we needed to get Mickey Stockwell a new alarm clock, but he came in, and there were some great stories. I don't know how many people were there. Hundreds isn't an exaggeration. I thought it was fantastically done by the club. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Marcus giving out the pies, was he?
I didn't see him.
He had a special outfit. I mean, at least we're making an effort, aren't we? And season ticket details have got to be not too far away. It's usually April, isn't it? So it's good that the club is starting to make an effort now, Dave, after a few years of maybe not really bothering with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course it is. I think I heard Leo Neal, he was interviewed on Suffolk yesterday, and the question was asked about the season ticket renewal. And from what I understand, I think it might be a few weeks later than usual, not surprisingly. But they've just got to get that right, haven't they? But no, as you said, it's great that the club seem to be making every effort to reconnect with the fans, which is great.
Let's bring it right up to date and let's chat Forest. And before we do, I need to say thank you to my mate Mark who got me a free ticket yesterday. So thank you, Mark. That was very much appreciated in the North Stand Lower. And watching on, we've got a similar team to the West Brom actually. Knudsen for Pennington's the only change. We've got Barton goal, Bree back in, Chambo, Kenlock making up that back four with Pennington. Bishop's Goose Nolan on midfield 3, and then Edwards and Kwan is back in for Jackson, who's dropped back to the bench, and Judge named as a left winger, but in his usual kind of floating around. Thoughts on that? We've kind of mentioned some of the youth players who were kind of lobbed in for Bristol City dropped out. Any thoughts on that? Any thought on Kwana over Jackson? Maybe.
I said before the start, I don't like Kwana playing. Not say I don't like Kwana playing. I don't like Kwana playing through the middle on his own. And I think I put something on the WhatsApp thing saying, cue Kwana hat trick, and we all know. Well, we'll get onto that in a minute. But I didn't particularly like that. I quite like the midfield, Bishop, Skews, and Nolan. If it was up to me, if we were going to just play one lone player for the rest of the season, it'd be Chalabar, especially after yesterday. But yeah. No problem with the side there. Bree back, Pennington, okay, and Kenlock, good to see. He's obviously, I don't think we're not going to see much more of Knudsen, are we? Clearly,
no. We've got so quickly on Forest. It's a Christmas tree formation. A good old Terry Venables Christmas tree. Palantilimon in goal, absolute unit. When we've got Derikwa, Wagway, Benalayoun. Robinson back in, who's got the long throws that were pretty tasty yesterday in the wind. The midfield 3 of Yates, Pele and Colback, not that Pele. and then
Certainly was.
Lolly, Osborne, and one Daryl Murphy up front. And as we talked about in the previous show, if you get Murphy and you don't get Carvalho, expect Forest to be going direct and long. And that tactic didn't really last very long, although Murphy, you know what you're going to get with him, don't you, Stat?
Yeah, I mean, just picking up on what Dave said about Quana, I compared the two throughout the whole game, and even though Quana scored, and Murphy didn't, I think, you know, I liked everything that Murphy did. He worked his socks off, you know, he worked the centre halves and stuff like that.
He looked ripped yesterday.
Yeah.
He is absolutely ripped, and he's what, 35 now?
Yeah, I think
34,
he is, yeah.
35. My God, when he walked out right side on in front of us. He really, he looked like he's shed a bit since he even left us. You know,
he's
36.
36.
Wow.
Yeah,
there you go.
Man, you know,
wow.
there's
It's an example for Chamber, isn't it?
There's someone who could do a last huzzah in League One, I'm sure. God dear.
What do you reckon? Would he come down to League One? Imagine if we got him.
Be great. I'm sure that's the sort of player you'd want.
He'd lead the line, wouldn't he, for Lambert?
Yeah,
that would work really well.
Yeah.
Let's jump straight into it, guys, because there's not a huge amount to talk to until the 5th minute when suddenly we score. This is at your end, isn't it, Stat? Do you want to kind of take us through this? It's great work from Edwards primarily, and Bree. There's a lot of getting stuck in there.
Well, I think we should do. You know, Dave and I come as a package now. So I think the move started right in front of you, Dave, didn't it? And the move
it
finished right
with a really good determined challenge by Edwards, actually. So he won the ball, and the ball broke, I think, then to Bishop.
Yeah. Play, and then Bree plays a lovely ball in, doesn't
Bishop
he?
just knocks it to Bree. Bree plays a really good ball, and Edwards, Colback's ball watching. Colback, Edwards, from the original challenge, which I think was with Colback, he reacts far quicker. He's on his bike. Colback loses Edwards. And for then on, it's a bit of an odd one, isn't it? Because
they're quite static, aren't they, Forrest?
He almost scuffs the cross. The cross doesn't go in with any pace at all. And whether that catches out the Forest defender, but it's not great defending. He's totally ball watching. And good from Quain. I've got to say, he was alert and nips in and puts it through sort of underneath Pantilimon from 4 yards. But it was a sort of weirdo goal, really. I thought it hit his cross.
Yeah, stabbed it in. But I think something about that cross when you mentioned the Forest defender. I don't know whether there was a shout from the keeper or whatever, but he seemed to
just hesitate.
Hesitate, and Quainer just sticks it in from about 2 or 3 yards, stabs it in, and that was great for him because I think if he hadn't scored yesterday, he'd have gone 50 matches without a goal, which is
there you go. That is why we
Freddie Sears like
stats there from the stat man.
Yeah.
Word on the defender, I think. Potentially he's quite close into goal. He's facing the goal, isn't he? So he's got to get a difficult touch there. He might score an own goal otherwise. And Pantilimon 6'8", that's a long way for him to get down for it. It's quite instinctive and Quiner, isn't it? So good goal, but a great start for once.
Yeah, it was. And do you know what? Overall, I thought it was a poor first half.
Actually, right, yeah. I mean, in terms of the goal, from then on...
No, great, yeah. From then on, it was, you expect... This is what we haven't done. We haven't done this all season. I said to the guys around me, great one. Let's get another one. I don't think I've seen a score.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done it. I don't think we have done it at home. I don't think we've been 2 up at home all season, have we? In fact, I think someone said yesterday we've only been 2-0 up in one game all season. That was Birmingham away.
Yeah. And then, we know how that ended up.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, we don't seem to sort of kick on and... anyway.
No, I agree with you, Dave. I think, we score the goal early on. Excuse me, early on you're thinking, right, okay, we're going to go for this now. But there was just there was no press. We sat back and was almost like, come on, Forrest, come towards us. And that wasn't helped at all by Quainer, who I think after he scored, he spent 10 minutes sort of prancing around like a peacock because he was so happy that he scored a goal, and then the peacock sort of turned into some sort of lumbering sloth, and then he moved about the pitch very, very slowly in no real direction. And I agree with you, it's the wrong position for him. Even though he scored a goal yesterday, I thought that was one of the worst halves of football I've seen from him.
Wow.
Yeah, he's hold up. His first touch isn't great. He doesn't hold the ball up. He doesn't punch. For me, they're playing in that central position. He just doesn't punch his weight because he's got all the attributes to play through the middle. Probably Harry, and you probably said this on a previous show.
Yeah.
He just doesn't impose himself, But I like him wide. When you see little bits of him wide, running the channels and stuff, I think he looks okay, you know.
For Huddersfield, it was the assists down the right hand side. So it does feel that Lambert just wants that type of presence. He's just not that player, is he? Unfortunately. No, let's skip through the first half because there's not a huge amount of fun stuff for us to be talking about. Quite a lot of chances for Forest. First of the long throws from Jack Robertson that causes a bit of chaos. Pennington clears to Murphy, who glances ahead wide. A few minutes later, Pennington again is clearing from Colback and Murphy, trying to stab in a shot at goal. Joe Lolly had a good game yesterday for Forest first half. I'd be interested to get your thoughts on him, Dave. He finds some space.
Lolly's a good player. I like Lolly. Good player. And I quite like that sort of player coming off, left foot coming off the right. Yeah, good player.
And he, 22, he has a fairly tame shot at Bart. He probably should do better, actually. I think he's got more time than he thought.
He does really well. Yeah, cuts inside and makes the angle and just scuffs it, doesn't he?
Yeah. 29, lovely instinctive cross from Bree, who was doing this quite a lot against Reading, a lot today as well. Just gets that early ball in, and as we're saying, Kwan is probably not the man to instinctively know where to be, and it's quite close to getting on the end of that. Do you call that one stat?
Yeah, I think he goes to. I think he tries to go and volley it, but it doesn't get as far as him. So you kind of see him where he just sort of, volleys the air. But yeah, it was getting there. But yeah, what you were saying about Bree is fantastic. The crosses, sometimes he's not even taking a touch.
Yeah, he clips him in. Yeah, he does.
Him and Edwards seem to have figured some stuff out as well there. We've got a. Let me see here. I'm trying to read my notes. Not a huge amount of stuff until we've got a competitive drop ball, Glaxham. I thought I'd lob that in there. We haven't mentioned him yet, and he's going to start getting into the game. Keith Stroud, we'll talk about his performance a bit more as the game goes on, but our favourite person, I'm sure. Just before that, Cole Scouse had his one shot for the month, which ended up in the top tier of the South Stand.
When he's running onto a left foot, it's only going one way, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I like the fact he's got the confidence to have a go.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about Chalobah in a bit. Chalobah has a go later on, and that's a little bit closer. Murphy again, getting in good positions, and it's a fairly tame header straight at Bart when he's got a lot of the goal to aim at. A few minutes later, he heads it onto the roof of the net when he possibly should do better as well. And at that moment, Scouse is taken off. Scouse was bundled over, wasn't he? Or I think he took a hand to the face from Murphy. And he subbed off at about 40 minutes. Did you guys see anything more about that? I was a bit far away from that.
No, I didn't. I thought I thought perhaps he'd broken his nose or something like that, but I don't know.
He seemed to hobble a little bit when he came off.
I think it was some sort, and I think in the end of the day it was some sort of muscle injury. I think. Yeah.
Rich,
I've forgotten the goal, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Stat.
Yeah, that's fine.
I couldn't read my notes, and it said Nolan OG, and I couldn't remember Nolan scoring an own goal.
That sounds like us on a history show.
Yeah. I mean,
what's the score stat? 2-1. No, I think you'll find it's 3-2.
Well, 1-0 to Ipswich. This is a great game. I just edit the crap stuff out.
Yeah, just put them round in there. Yeah.
So 30 minutes.
You had that first half out, Rich.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, that's what happens when you. My handwriting is appalling.
The goal was. Lolly takes a good in swinging corner. Bart's at fault here again. If I've got one criticism of Bart, he's static on his line. He's got to impose himself there and come for that and try and get a punch on that, hasn't he? Where the ball drops.
There's two players on the near post. One of them's actually quieter, actually. There's a bit of a bundle there, and I think it drops over the top of them. And I don't think Bart is expecting that, but he is slow to get down.
I think he should come in the first instance and come. If that ball's dropping near post in that area, he should come and just try and fist it away. But I think it comes off.
It's
Wagway
or
and then there's a messy goal deflects back to him off Nolan. Then he sort of takes a swipe at it, and it's horrible goal.
There was that little lull, wasn't there? If you weren't up the Bobby Robson stand, you're thinking, what's going on? And then
probably had a good view of that, Rich.
Yeah, we was a bit of congestion on the lines, quite a lot of bodies in there, so we couldn't really see it. But I think it's pretty obvious that it was clawed at from Bart by over the line, and Straz obviously got his watch on as well, but blows and gives the goal, and that's 1-1. And actually, Forest have probably deserved it. I think on the balance of the first half, a draw was probably fair.
Yeah.
Well, what about the own goal? Yeah, not the own goal, the offside.
Yeah, so let's get to that. So there's a couple more chances. Let's get back on track. I'm doing a fabulous job of hosting this week. 45. So it's It's a goal-bound header. The bar gets a good save too, and Murphy's there snaffling it, kind of low volley back across the goal. And we've all seen the picture, and there's no way that the header's offside, is it? And Murphy's not either.
Murphy's nothing wrong with that goal.
Well on, so there's nothing wrong with that goal whatsoever. Nothing wrong at all. I think, VAR would have, barely needed it for that one. Christ knows what the linesman was seeing there.
Oh, the linesman was pretty. And I don't know if we'll talk. We could start talking about Stroud now. I wonder whether he's one of these referees that he makes the decisions and the linesmen are just there to kind of. I know the lino is flagging for this one, and he looks fairly determined.
To be honest, Rich, all the refs I've seen this season, I don't think ref any differently to that. I know Stroud's probably the worst of them, but whenever I see whenever I see the linesman or assistants, always react to the ref, always.
Yeah.
And unless it's an obvious throw and stuff like that, always.
So he got away with one there, and probably Forest wouldn't have felt too bad about going in 2-1 up after the dominating most of the latter end of the second half.
Yeah,
Ipswich just didn't really get imposed themselves back on the game, did they, after scoring?
No.
Talked about that. But
the key turning point of the game, what turned it, was the Skews injury and Chalabar coming on so
Chalabar, who was man of the match Tuesday night against Bristol, and picks up where he left off as well, doesn't he?
The first half was pretty dull though.
Oh, I thought
nondescript. When you score a goal within the first 5 minutes, and you think, well, actually, this is going to, not saying open the floodgates, but expect there to be a lot more than what actually happened. And I think Forest's physical side, they just kind of impressed it on the game a little bit, and then just started pushing us back. And like you say, Rich, then that led to a number of chances that they had. One thing I want to you mentioned about the long throws, was it Robinson?
Jack Robinson.
Yeah. They were good, they effective. But one thing I noticed was why were there towels on the pitch? Because we never took a long throw, and then he just kept going. And it's sort of small things frustrated, but he just kept picking the towel up, and I'm thinking, whose towel is that? And why are we helping?
Well, we supplied towels for their long throws.
Yeah.
Well, talking about annoying things yesterday, I thought the ball people were pretty slow to react yesterday. I think Bart had to get one from the corner flag in the second half. Yeah, that was. If you want to be petty, don't speak to me about ball.
I think it might have been Felixstowe under 13 boys and girls team, Rich. So I think they were.
Am I calling them out on
I don't know.
Thanks for your hard work, everyone. Keep trying. Second half, though, and I don't think I've got a Forest chance to talk about this. There might be one from Cash and Murphy midway through, but Ipswich started the second half really well. The chat that I was having at half time with the people with me is that Lambert's got to be giving them the proverbial rocket up the arse, and they certainly came out with intent. Bree, another great cross, and it's Nolan getting on the end of it and glancing ahead of Wise. Again, Bree crossing, Chalabar is getting in there. The ball kind of loops up in the air, and Quain is ready to volley the cross, I think. It falls out. I think, it's Chalabar with a volley, actually. This is the chance, isn't it?
This is the one, yeah.
Chalabar's queuing up the volley. It goes back out in the air, and it seems to take an age to drop. And Chalabar's running onto it. Great technique, Dave. Tell us about it.
That's a great hit. So, I think it's a deep cross, and you're right. Quain sort of making that shape to volley it, and obviously the defender gets a head on it. And then it's headed back out to Chalabar, I think, and he's about 20 odd yards out.
Just
great technique. You say it's one of those balls that's a dropping ball, so he's got to wait for it. And that didn't look that. We don't get the view from behind the goal, but it doesn't look that far wide.
It's inches wide.
For me, it was a perfect view. You get these
you were
shanks at football when a player has a ball and they're like 30 or 40 yards out, and people are going, shoot. But at this point, the ball goes up, and you can see he's getting his body in position, and everybody's just hit it, and he hits it with some pace, and that was no more than 6 inches wide of the post.
It would have been close.
It would have been the sky goal of the game without.
It would have, and he would have deserved it as well.
I'm not sure it would have been. Because I think the next chance, if there is the next chance, perhaps.
Oh yeah.
The Judge Nolan.
Oh well, so
my God.
Quaner's last action is that chance. He's replaced for Jackson, and then 64. This is great work from Bart. Actually, Bart really quick kick out, really accurate. It's kind of going off to the side, but Judge takes a really great first touch, kills the ball, nutmegs through the defender, the left back. First time cross, and I'm thinking he's crossed it too early. But there he is again, the Ginger Pele, Nolan. And did you have a good view of this one, Stat?
I did. He should have scored.
Yeah, Dave.
Everything about that goal was everything about the build-up.
The build-up was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't see a better goal than that. That would have beaten Chalobah if they'd gone in. He sort of mistimes it, doesn't? The ball bounces and he sort of goes a bit too early and just mistimes the header. He probably, in hindsight, he probably had enough time to take that down and volley it in.
Possibly. Yeah, actually, it's a great shout. I think he's really unlucky for two reasons. One, I think he's running in at an angle, so he's actually facing away from the goal to head it. And I think the ball bounces just before it reaches him. And a lot of people around me were saying he should score it, and obviously Sats did that as well. I've given him the benefit of the doubt, but he's right in front of the goal. He just has to get something on it.
And pretty much, I think there's a defender behind him, but Edwards is
free behind
as well, because you see Edwards' sort of reaction when he misses it. You know, how did he miss that? But that would have been a hell of a goal. Yeah, really great all round from Bart, Judge.
What I love about it though is that Nolan is obviously he scored against West Brom with his head, and that was his first goal, and he seems to be getting his head all the time. And I think I'd like to see it again and probably watch the highlights again just to see whether he could have got a foot to it. But yeah, you're right. Edwards was right behind, and I'd like to know what Edwards said to him. When he was laying
Edwards pulls his shorts up and looks a bit weird. I'm not sure he's happy.
Expletive ridden, I think it probably was.
But let's quickly talk about Judge, because Judge didn't really do much in the first half, did he?
No.
Came into a second half. But is this the kind of football that we haven't seen at Paul for quite a while? It's quite direct and quite attacking, but it's really positive and creative, isn't it? I don't think we've seen this for a while.
I think it takes us back probably to the first game of the season, the Blackburn game, where, in a similar position, that was what Edwards is doing on that wide right. First game of the season, we seemed quite direct and seemed quite, quite punchy. But no, it was great to see, really great to see. And you say, Nolan, he scored his goal last week, and you see, he is the one, and you can see him being a player next year. And I think he scored a few goals for Shrewsbury last year. You could see him being a player next year. He could score a rake of goals from midfield.
And he's making the runs now as well.
Yeah.
64, the substitution that Harry predicted. I'm not claiming credit for Harry's work, brilliant. Carvalho is on for Yates and Cash on for Osborne. It didn't really change a huge amount, actually. They have the chance, which we'll come on to in a second. But really, Carvalho, a good player, multi-million-pound player. Apart from one dash across the pitch yesterday, he did nothing really, did he?
That's it. No, not really.
71, Nolan plays in Jackson. He's got a tame low shot that's saved quite close in. Again, similar to the chance that Lolly had in the first half. And then we're kind of into the last sort of 20 minutes, and we're really going for it now. This is Keith Stroud's moment, guys. Oh, it's the first of his two moments. Free kick, left-hand side. Judge is taking it. Stroud marches out the wall. Everyone is ready. Judge takes a quick free kick, pulls it to Nolan, edge of the box, who, in the words of David Diamond, and one of the questions says this, larrups it in off the bar.
Absolutely hammers. It's a great start, and it shows he's 2-footed as well, does it? Absolutely doesn't think about hitting it, not hitting it first time with the old left peg. But I don't get that decision at all. Although some refs, you have to ask, ref, can I take a quick free kick? Perhaps even as you're going over to take the free kick, I mean, it was some way away, but it was a bizarre decision. But he had, to be fair, I think he had, when the ball, he'd already blown when the ball would, although it was such a good strike, I think everybody had pretty much stopped because he'd blown the whistle after taking the kick.
You just hear the whistle. Yeah, I think you hear the whistle just as he hits it. Yeah. But still, like you say, great effort, and with Pantilimon there, the height of him just to crash that under the bar.
I don't think he saves it, by the way.
Pantilimon was beaten. Sorry?
I don't think he saves it, because Pantilimon it's right above him. So
yeah.
And I think I was saying to my mate Mark, who was next to me, that a striker in an offside position, in a position close in, usually scores the goal, because you want to get the instinct and the muscle memory to do it. I think a keeper saves that if they're thinking about it. I don't think he's saving that. But Keith Stroud holds his whistle up to make sure everyone knew that he was waiting. We should have waited for the whistle. And there was a nice chant for all play to the whistle as well from the North Stand. There was also a couple of chants about this moment about Roy Keane as well. I don't know if the wind blew them and took them down to you, Stat. It's quite an offensive chants about Roy Keane, which I won't elaborate on.
Was he there yesterday? I mean,
we've not mentioned him, have we?
I got in my seat and.
I mean, it's all very low key. I was expecting more. I got there like 5 minutes.
Did he not do that to someone? The old.
We got to get there early to boo Roy Keane, but but no, there's none
Well,
of it.
some people got there early for a pie and a pint, and some people got there early to boo Roy Keane.
I thought he'd have his moment and I thought he'd have his moment and flounce out on his own, but no, he came out in a group, and you really couldn't, you had to really look there he is, and there's a bit of a boo, but no, none of that really.
No, nothing really came to the Sir Alf Ramsey stand at all. But to be fair, Rich, you're right. For a manager to come back to get a little bit of booze like that. But imagine if we had a manager that came back that told us Ipswich fans to foxtrot Oscar. How on earth are we going to react when he comes back?
Wow, indeed.
But yeah, no, I thought the Roy Keane thing, there was a little bit of a build up in the local press, and I think I took the bait a little bit, but only on the fact that not everything that happened when Roy Keane was here was completely disastrous, which is what most people will have you think. And it wasn't. There were some positive points. There weren't many of them, but there were some. Think harder, Dave. And I think it was a sideshow that never.
Yeah, exactly what it was. Yeah, I think I said wrong manager, wrong time. Yeah, you're right, sideshow. Yeah,
and wrong owner and chief exec as well. Let's not forget that too.
Yeah, I personally thought the best chance yesterday, you'd have heard this stat, was a Forest fan singing "Que sera, sera, whatever it will be, you're going to Shrewsbury," which I thought was
right.
Quite
yeah,
amusing.
I thought that was us who sung that.
I did chuckle at that.
Sorry, that was the North Stand who sung it. Was it coming from Forest as well?
From the
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of them, wasn't it? So this is the moment for Forest. The one moment in the second half.
Yeah.
Really lovely spin and volley from Cash. A good save from Bart, but Murphy's in there. If Murphy has a right foot, does he score this one, Stat?
Yeah. Should have scored.
Yeah, he just doesn't.
He's setting himself, isn't he, to try and
You would put your money on Daryl Murphy, where in that position, Bart does what you would hope keepers would do, which is kind of make himself big. But I think that was another let off. So it surprised me a little bit when Paul Lambert in his after match comments where he said, I don't think if we'd have won that 4-2 that anybody would have complained. And I think, well, Forest had a goal chalked off, and they had that one. I think probably a draw was a fair result. That Keith Stroud on both sides. I
think perhaps, and we haven't got to him yet, but I don't know if you are, Rich, but I think perhaps he's thinking of Jackson sort of two, call them one-on-ones. I don't know if you can call them one-on-ones. Yeah, I think credit to the keeper, perhaps with one of them. Maybe it was a slight angle. But what I'd say about Jackson, and people say, he can't finish. He makes really good, intelligent runs. I think every time there he's bending his run and he's there to accept the pass. I think one from Shalabar.
I think they're both from Chalabar, actually, I think.
Both, it would have been. He was just awesome.
Yeah, there's two of them in quick succession on the 82 and 84th minute.
Silimon does well. You said, Rich, 6'8", he gets down well, and it's a big unit to get past, really. But
he probably takes the ball a bit too. The angle's a bit too difficult,
maybe
isn't it?
His first touch takes him slightly away, but he does make those runs, and he'll score. He'll score goals because he'll keep knocking at the door and making those runs. He'll score.
Yep. Just before those two chances, Forest bring on and Sarafard, they bring on a striker to try and change it up. But again, the substitutions don't really do anything for O'Neill and Keane. And it's Ipswich who end the game strongest. Another great corner from Judge, and Chambers is there, and the stage is set. New contract against your old club. Chambers' header is just a foot or so wide. Probably a bit, I wonder if he shoved a little bit as well, but no appeals there. But that was close. Another Stroud moment, 87 minutes. Pantilimon punches Nolan on the edge of the area, and Stroud awards the free kick to the keeper, which none of us could understand. And then 5 minutes later, this is the moment. Who wants to talk us through this one? Because it's a few bodies. It's Jackson, it's Wagway, it's a Judge free kick. Do we think it's a penalty, gents? Do we think Wagway goes all the way through Jackson?
I can't recall it.
Do you know what I remember?
I remember the set up for the free kick, and you're thinking, you start looking at the clock, and Judge is there. I said to my son, I just think it's a bit too close to the goal for him to get it up and over the wall. And but yeah, when the challenge went in, I think if it was anywhere else on the pitch, it would have been a free kick. So yeah, it was a penalty. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I going to do my Arsene Wenger impression. I didn't see it. I looked down at the wrong moment. But my mate Mark said it was a clear pen, and everyone in the North Stand was pretty adamant as well.
Yeah, that's where you get it from, isn't it?
We can't all be wrong.
You look at the Sir Bobby Robson stand, and they went up as one to
it's
kind
usually
of.
the players. I know it's very late on, but it's usually the reaction you get from the players. It's usually, and they were they? I don't know. When he didn't give it, they weren't. I didn't see when he didn't give it. The players all surrounding the ref. I didn't see that. But
They weren't surrounding him like they were for Nolan's disallowed goal. That's when they started. So fair point there, Dave. Yeah, fair point.
It's usually a tell.
Maybe they know not to go and crowd him because he'll get the cards out, perhaps.
He wouldn't have needed an excuse, I don't think, was he?
No.
He's shocked.
And yesterday, a really frustrating thing, and Colback did this really well. If you hit the ground with a bit of contact, he'll give you a foul, won't he, Stroud? There's no kind of, you don't have to try hard. And I was a bit disappointed that we hadn't figured that out yet. I think they figured that one out, and we're getting decent free kicks.
Right through the season, Rich has said it. Stat have said it. We're too nice. We've been too nice. We've been too nice for even under McCarthy. We were too nice. We're not. We just haven't got that nasty streak. Which call it an honourable thing. I don't know. We just haven't got that nasty streak.
It's not the Ipswich way.
No, it's not. But you need that ruthless. You need it.
Yeah.
Going back to the Roy Keane when he was here. He said, the problem with the size that they've got the soft underbelly, and we've had it for a long time. And I think you do need it. You certainly do need it. You need to have people who can get there and get in the mix and stuff like that. And we'll need it even more next season.
Yeah, if we think the standard of refereeing and the gamesmanship is tough in the Championship, you wait until League One.
I don't think VAR is going to reach League One just yet, is it?
No. So we're pretty much in the last moments of the game. NCR is brought on for another one of these kind of corner cameos.
Distraction. I said, what the hell is he doing that? And I remember what Harry was saying about the Stoke game. It was that distraction, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was for a free kick, like quite close in as well.
It doesn't really work out. And the annoying thing is that immediately the ball's cleared out for a corner, Stroud towards it, and then blows for all time just to annoy everyone.
Stroud,
and
that looked a decent effort from Judge. It just deflects off the wall, doesn't it? You were quite again. That was North Stand end. Was that? Do you think that was goal bound? I don't know.
I can't. Do you know what? I can't recall. And this is the trouble when you write notes and all that kind of stuff.
That was
plug in, guys. You carry on.
Okay. No, that was. I was getting confused with the penalty. That was the one where Judge had the free kick, which was pretty close to the wall. Yeah, and you're looking at the clock and you're thinking, is the place gonna go mad? But no, it came off somebody's back and went for a corner.
Up in the air, didn't it?
Yeah, everybody in the ground probably thought, right, we've got our last chance now. This is our last chance, and you had that thought, and then the whistle blew.
Yeah. And Lambert and his coaching staff not happy at full time. They make a line straight for Stroud to have a chat.
Cool.
But so I guess. That's that. Another 1-1 draw. That's 6 draws out of 7, all 1-1. Now 3 in a row with the Reading defeat sandwiched in there. I guess my question, gents, is we're playing well, aren't we? We are looking much more effective as a team, but there's 6 games here where arguably we could have won the game, aren't there? Particularly yesterday. Particularly Forest.
Definitely West Brom, Bristol City. Certainly the last 3 we could and probably should have won. It's just that.
And that's an extra 6 points as well. I know we're kind of saying that relegation is almost inevitable, but
an extra 6 points, you're still up against it, but you're still in the game, aren't you?
We're probably above Bolton, aren't we? I'm trying to think what they've got on points.
So, the thing is, some fans would. Feel that Lambert's probably got a free hit for the rest of this season because we were basically down.
Yeah.
But you make some valid points there, Rich. They're 6 points in games, and I do wonder whether the fact that we're playing better is because obviously the confidence is back in the team, and it's clearly a more enjoyable place at Playford Road. But I do think that the pressure's off, and I think maybe if we were like 7 or 8 points off, then that pressure would be on a little bit more. So I think I like Paul Lambert, don't get me wrong, but at some point these free hits are going to turn into you should have won that, and his win percentage is at 8% compared to Paul Hurst at 6%. Paul Hurst points per game is 0.64. Paul Lambert's is 0.65. So at some point, the scales will tip if the wins don't follow. But the football is. The football is far better.
Infinitely better. It's good. It's good to. I was just disappointed yesterday. You get the early goal, and you think, right, come on, let's really put these to the sword, you know. But what got me yesterday, and maybe, but you know, they have a midweek game as well, Tuesday, Saturday, but we just seemed to not push on, do it. It was a bit flat. It was odd, really quite weird. Yeah, it was
but an entertaining game though, wasn't it? It was ignoring the first half. The second half was really entertaining, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Chances. We're just lacking that killer instinct, aren't we? We've been saying it all season, but
guys, we're lacking that killer instinct and just that little bit of luck. You need a little bit of luck, and we haven't. I know you make your own luck, but we haven't been a bugger all. Have we? You know, where are those deflected goals and stuff? We just don't go right. We had an own goal.
We got an own goal, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but you could say, all right, yeah.
We
haven't got a decent goal scorer.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, and that's why we're going down, gents.
And I think, I honestly think, the chances we've created these last few games. Sears, bless him, what was he on? 6 goals. It'd probably be in double figures by now.
Yeah,
probably would.
Yeah, great shout.
Probably would.
Yeah. Should we do some questions quickly?
Before we do the questions, special mention to Miles Kenlock.
Okay.
We didn't mention
improved, isn't he?
One of his best games.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great shout. Yeah, absolutely.
Much better, much stronger defensively. Although maybe, perhaps he was up against who was at Lolly, and I think Lolly played. He wasn't quite such a physical specimen. But
Lolly was a bit more central than playing out wide, wasn't he? He wasn't an orthodox thing, was he?
I thought Kenlock had a really good game yesterday.
Yeah, good stuff. Talking of strikers, let's get into the questions. Ben Moore, what strikers would you sign for us? One player we have had. I think there's 2 questions here. One striker would you sign for us? One player we have had that you would have back. I guess we've answered this maybe at the start about Murphy.
Yeah, I'd have him back.
But any strikers that we're linked with?
James Norwood.
Norwood is from Tranmere, who I apparently scored earlier. Saw score for Tranmere at Northampton earlier in the season. I can't remember it, so I've been told.
It's Oliver Norwood's brother, and it's twin brother, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, you would tell me about that.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Was he got 25 goals or something like that?
Yeah.
But then I kind of feel myself saying, just rein it in a little bit, because I remember last summer when we started signing Enciala and John Nolan and Caden Jackson and all of these players, we thought there was a lot of promise. But at
a different level, though, Stat. I think we're going to be in league, so slightly different level.
The jump is less, isn't it?
Yeah. I think League 2 to League 1 is not the jump from League 1 to Champ, but
the sort of player that we certainly need to be linked with. Get 20 goals a season, striker, then you're always going to be in the top 6, I think.
But Jackson and Harrison, we've already got, haven't we? And if Lambert's going to play one up front, it's going to limit options anyway, isn't it? But we'll keep an eye on that Norwood rumour. Adam Flatt, we talked about this too. How terrified are you of the standard of referee in League 1, given how poor they've been this season, and what happened between Oxford and Bradford yesterday? Did you see this?
Yeah. No. That was a farce.
Bradford have a last-minute chance and a shout for a penalty, which is ignored. Oxford take a quick goal kick, go all the way up the other end, score the goal, which the referee awards. They go back to the centre circle to kick off. The Bradford players are still protesting. The referee rules out the goal, gestures to give the penalty to Bradford,
what the hell?
And then overturns it, re-awards the goal to Oxford, and the game finishes there, 1-0 in the last minute to Oxford. So,
was there some sort of VAR bizarre?
I don't know what it was.
There's a chat with both linesmen. He awards a goal and then goes over to the linesman who would have been at the... and then goes back over again.
So he doesn't give a Stonewall penalty or a debatable Sinham Gibbon type
penalty. It's a 50-50. It's similar to Jackson's,
the argument is that
Oxford go and score.
They took the free kick too quickly.
He gives a goal.
Yeah.
And then what? As they're celebrating and Bradford is still protesting, he speaks to another linesman or what?
Yeah, he goes to the other linesman up the other end of the pitch and has a chat with him. And I think they say, well, actually, I think he took the free kick too quickly, maybe, or whether it was a penalty, I don't know.
It was a goal kick, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and then what happens is that I think the Oxford players and then start complaining. So he goes, all right, then I'll go back over to the other line.
Yeah, I realise that I'm at Oxford, so I should probably, if I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
So the standard of refereeing, guys. I mean, we've talked about it this year in the Championship. I don't think I can recall it being as bad, but we're kind of clutching at straws, being in the bottom, aren't we? And the decisions go against us maybe more than we've expected it before.
In the Champ, do we ever get to see refs up from who move up from League 1? Do we ever get to see refs who would officiate in League 1?
I guess we don't know, do we?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
But anyway, does it concern you of our chances, or
same for everyone? But it's I mean, I've got a guy who sits near me who is anti-ref every game, so it's just going to be entertaining just watching that. To be fair, it's be a nice sideshow. Yeah.
Martin Code asks, honest opinions, would Judge stay? He's enjoying his football, but if he gets offered more money at this stage in his career from a championship club, why wouldn't he take it? Stat, thoughts on Judge?
No, someone will be able to offer him a better deal. He's an Irish international. He's going to be playing, hopefully, or certainly involved against Gibraltar next weekend. They're the big games.
The Rock.
McCarthy.
Nick's putting him in the shop window for us, isn't he, against Gibraltar?
Yeah. But no, I think the clubs will take a chance on him, and he'll be able. I think that they said on the radio he's got about 4 years left or whatever, and I think he's saying that he's kept himself fit whilst he's been out, but he still needs to earn money, and I think he'll get a better deal elsewhere, and that will be the ultimate decision. He'd be great in League One, and I'd love him to stay, but I don't think he will.
Again, it's that weird thing that came out. I think we mentioned this last week, Rich, where he said about his contract, and it's weighted in favour
in the club's favour, which you kind of think is if you stay up, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it must be. Yeah,
it's a weird one. I mean, if we do,
Stat's dead right. He's proved his fitness now. He's been playing for Brentford prior to coming here. He's proved his fitness with us, as Stat said. He's back in the Irish squad. I hope he does, but I can't believe he will.
Would tear up League One, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah. You think so?
Someone else who thinks, Craig thinks that Ellis Harrison might tear up League One, or I'm reading too much into his question. Let me ask it. What does Ellis Harrison have to do to get a run of games? I thought Quiner was poor yesterday despite the goal, and Jackson has more of an impact as a sub or in a pair. The formation is crying out for a central pivotal striker. Don't know whether Harrison was fit, but he was on the bench against Bristol.
It's a general question, really, about Harrison's fitness, to be fair, because he seems to break down a lot. He'll have 2 or 3 games, and perhaps he'll start and be sub, and then seems to pick up injuries. Seems to be reasonably injury prone. Again, it's the jump, isn't it? But talking about Harrison ripping it up. Obviously, last season he scored his goals for Bristol Rovers in League One. I assume. I assume it was League One, where Jackson scored his goals for Accrington in League Two, didn't he? Albeit he got them promoted. So. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, they're obviously going to be. You'd think both of them are going to be with us next season. Obviously, I think they're both more than capable of doing a job. Whether there's a 20-goal League One player in between the two, let's hope they both chip in with 15 each or something. But unlikely, because unlikely they're going to ever play together.
Yeah, which is people are crying out for.
I like Harrison. I think.
I think he's great.
The appearances he's made this season, I like what he does, and I think that. Was it Craig or whoever had the message there about him being better than Quainer? Yeah, far better. I'd have him every day.
He's totally opposite to Quainer, because I think Harrison hasn't got Quainer's stature, and I think Harrison actually, when he plays up on his own, punches above his weight. Because he does hold the ball. He is capable of holding the ball. He's pretty good in the air for his height as well.
And you remember that Sheffield United goal as well. Stat. Dimitris asks us, Dimmy, given Chalobah has been the first choice to deputise for Scouse in the deeper role, who do you think is most likely to take that on next season? And he also says, thanks for all the pods. Well, thanks for listening. Chalobah...
next season? Yeah. We'll get him back.
With Judge, yeah.
Can't see Chelsea wanting him to play in League One, unfortunately.
That's an interesting one. Well, you got Flynn Downs coming into the mix.
Yeah.
He would be the closest I see on the current.
Disappeared out of the lineups though of late, though, hasn't he?
Again, he's been ill.
Injured. I think he's got this bug or something. Yeah.
But did you read in the week? I think this broke in the week that apparently because of this sickness bug, Lambert insisted on a deep cleanse of the of Playford Road.
Well, he blamed in the programme. He blamed because the academy kids come through the training ground as well, because I think they come in. He said they come out of school, they come into Playford Road and they sneeze everywhere. So yeah, that's a good conspiracy theory.
Bloody students, that's exactly what it is, isn't it? He's blaming the students. Yeah, exactly.
Wash your hands if you're in the academy, if you're at Playford Road. Harvey Davies, despite the positive performances of late, is it concerning that Lambert still doesn't seem to have settled on a formation? Harvey suggested that it kind of drifted between 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 diamond and stuff like that. Do we think he's mucking around with the formations?
I think it generally
it's
seems
one
like
up front, I think, generally, isn't it?
It generally seems like 4-3-3 now, doesn't it? Well, it is one up front, but generally
with wingers. Yeah, and I guess Harvey's other part of the question is about using the final run as a mini pre-season. I think we all agree with that, don't we? Luke Moles, I don't think this is a question, but he says the worst thing about the Nolan goal being ruled out, the free kick, is that we now don't get to hear Dave describe it as Larraped. Well, I did that for you. There you go.
Across the bar, barring in as well. Ben would have liked that, barring in. Barring in.
Yeah, it's too close in for a Thunderby, isn't it?
It's not a Thunder bastard, but no. it's a Larrap.
Luke says a goal scorer away from absolutely storming League One? ? He thinks so.
I think people are in for a bit of a awakening. I think in League One, it ain't going to be, not for us. I don't think it's going to be no cakewalk, is it? No.
Well,
I hope it is.
I think. Yes, I agree with that message. One decent striker, and I think with the extended pre-season and with Lambert's tactical nous, I think that we've got a good chance of finishing in the top 12. No, I think
dream big.
Anything less than the playoffs next season, I'll say it now, is a failure.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's where Lambert needs to be judged upon, because I'm sure that we will. I get all of the things about financial fair play and the salary cap and all of that, but I still think that we should be stronger than most teams. We should be one of the top 6 teams.
There will be a lot of chaff in the lower half of the League One.
On another note, I've just watched half of them. I think I've just watched the fourth one. I think it's of the Sunderland Till I Die thing on Netflix. I've just started to watch that.
How much does it feel like watching us?
Yeah, I just don't quite think we're quite a basket case as Sunderland.
Not off the pitch as much.
Not off the pitch. No, not off the pitch. No, yeah, it's but you're right, on the pitch, it's sort of frightening correlation, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Taka Man's got a couple of points. I'm really sorry. We've talked about these already, but I thought I'd call you out. He mentions the issue with referees trying to be the star of the game. Stat, would you say that Keith Stroud is one of those? Look at me,
Keith
refs.
Stroud is, and any referee that has a personalised number plate as well is always on that.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah.
Who was that? Was that Jeremy Simpson or is that Stroud as well?
No, Stroud wasn't, but obviously when I walk round to get into the ground, you see where the referees park, and I've seen a few personalised plates. Yeah.
Any thoughts about what the Takaman asks what the EFL could do about that? Are the EFL going to do anything about that? I guess they probably think the referee's got a tough enough job.
Personalised number plates, I think.
Well, possibly. Calm down.
Personalised number plate for each referee that graduates to the championship.
No, we should do it like it's been said many years, and probably 30 years ago by Dave and stuff. Ex-players should be fast tracked into becoming referees.
Yeah.
But I don't think ex-players need the aggro, do they?
Well, I can imagine you've got like I don't know. Let's pick. I tell you, it'd be a great
Luke
referee.
Chambers.
Roy Keane. Imagine, Luke Chambers. Some really strong. Yeah, Roy Keane.
Wow.
Yeah, you would know. Yeah, okay, ref.
There'll be a red card, at least one red card every game.
Roy Keane would be like the football equivalent of a rugby referee, wouldn't he? Telling his 80-stone guys, look, guys.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Yeah, you would, wouldn't he?
Joking aside, though, I think some decisions go against teams, Ipswich and the opposition, because the referees haven't played the game, and they give something. Even when you're a fan and you've watched many games, you can say that wasn't a foul, ref. He's conned you there and stuff like that. And I think if you had ex-pros in there, they would iron out some of the smaller decisions. But hey, doesn't mean that they're still not going to give penalties or stuff like that, and get things wrong.
I think you're right. The best refs are the ones you don't notice.
Yeah, exactly right. Quick one here for both of you from Super Fans. Outside of the obvious, Paul Hurst's appointment and relegation, what is your greatest regret of the season? His is Chalobah growing as a player, realising how good he will be that we'll never see it at Portman Road. Biggest regret of the season for you guys, one each?
Probably Lambert. Lambert not starting from day one, I guess.
Yeah, Stat.
Yeah. But not starting against Norwich.
Oh.
I think that's when we all as fans kind of cottoned on that things were not well, and I think if he had started, then not saying we'd be in a better position, but that kind of stands out to me.
I would direct everyone to my wonderful sliding doors, top 10 sliding doors moments for number 10 for my answer for that one. Benjamin Airier, is there a perfect way to balance the playing time of the loanees and those who belong to the club? And is there a chance a few of them, i.e. Bree, could return to us on further loan next season? Should we focus on the first bit? In terms of the balance, is it about opposition now, or does that not even matter, Dave?
I don't think
it mattered yesterday.
Now. Sorry?
I think it mattered yesterday with the team. With Quainer up front, I'd have gone with Jackson. But I think, at some point when we're mathematically down, that'll be it, Dave. That's when the lone players will be out of the team. And
yeah, you would think so, because thinking about all the lone players, there are players that would just slot in. Probably centre half is the one, Pennington, I guess. But then I guess if he's going to play and he's still contracted to us, Knudsen will play there, and I don't mind Knudsen playing as a left centre back.
Nsiala in there.
Oh, of course, I forgot about Nsiala. Yeah, although do Nsiala and Chambers complement each other that well? I don't know. Yeah,
I think Lambert has got a difficult job, because my view is that once you're mathematically relegated, then just bring in your own players and blood them. But what you don't want to do is for him to bring them in and suddenly we lose the last 3 or 4 matches by 3 or 4-0. And I think
you got Sheffield United, Leeds in there.
You're right, State. I think you've got to temper it a bit. But no, I mean, what it's done is got. I mean, I really wasn't. The way it was going, a month ago, I really wasn't looking forward to the season just petering out with you, because I could see it just petering out. After the Norwich game and like Sears getting the injury and stuff like that, and you think, Christ, just let this season end now, But although. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a few more wins. I think Colin Murray said it on the Quest show last night. We are starting to show some fight and what we're about. We can take points off these, off these these playoff challenging teams.
We don't want to go down bottom, but I think every time we've been relegated, we've been bottom of the league when we've dropped out of divisions. But I think picking up a couple of wins and it worries me that our wins are going to come against Leeds or Sheffield United, which will help them up the road. But I think little results like that.
They'll be up and forgotten about.
Well, I'll come back to that on the roundup, guys. Yeah. Let's finish this blitz through these last few questions. Jack Todd asked about Alan Judge, so I think we've talked about whether he'll stay. He says, love the pod, listen 3 times a week, so thank you for the joy this season. So if you give us a compliment, I'll probably read it out anyway, but you can all bask in that. Arthur Pickthorne, could this team be any more different to the way we were under Mick? The days of endless long balls and plodding midfielders feel like an age ago. He's then got a point about Scouse. I've got a lot of respect for Scouse, but he's a waste of a position now, even more so in League One. Thoughts on Scouse, both of you, quickly, or whether whether Chalobah's showing him up maybe now? You get more out of Chalobah, don't you?
He's younger and a lot more mobile and just stronger. I think that it changed the whole.
Pass well.
It changed the whole balance of the game yesterday when he came on. But again, you'd think Skews would be a good, another experienced player like Chambers would be good around the club next season when the youngsters are through, and you can see Skews having a part to play. Albeit I wouldn't say start in any way, but just being around the squad and on the bench and a useful guy to have around again.
Is he out of contract?
Is he
don't think so. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not sure he is.
I think he's probably got one more year.
He'll still be here, won't he? He'll still be here then.
We're not here in the same chat we were about Chamber, were we? So, Portman Ginge just supplementary on that stat. Do you think Bishop and Nottingham will be our midfield pairing in League One? Both had good games yesterday.
No.
No.
I think Bishop could be cherry picked by some other clubs. I think there'll be an interesting one with him. I want him to stay, but.
Do you think he's done enough yet, though? Do you think, there's signs that he's getting back, albeit not yesterday? I was a bit disappointed in him yesterday, really. He didn't really
threw himself into tackles yesterday, which I really liked. But
he didn't really land on the ball as much as I liked yesterday. But do you think he's don't know. I'd like to think he'd be with us next season, Stat.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And we'll end on this one. We've got a load of questions about referees, a load of questions about transfer targets for League One. I don't think any of us are particularly good at going through the rumour bill, so thank you for those, and hopefully we've picked up some of those. We'll end with FPL Tractor. If you only wedgie Keith Stroud or Grant Holt, who would you choose? You don't want to. Grant Holt is a wrestler now, isn't he? So you want to be careful.
Yeah, I wouldn't wedgie Grant Holt. It'd probably give you I don't know any of the moves. Body slam, but there's a much better move than that. I don't know what it is. But you'd have to give
Grant Holt to give Keith Stroud the skull smasher or something like that. Special move, yeah.
Yeah.
Keith Stroud's a small guy as well. I think I'd fancy my chances.
He's small. There was a guy behind me the whole time, and he was a guy of probably in his 70s or 80s who just kept shouting, You silly little man. You said, what did you say the whole time? And I thought, what? And then I looked and I thought, actually, yeah, he is. He is silly, and he clearly
little.
was very little as well. He was about 4'3", it looks like, on the pitch.
And that probably hurts him more than actually swearing at him, I suspect. Just reminding him he's short.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic questions. Thank you, everyone, for those. Sorry for the ones we didn't have time to read out. Let's quickly do the roundup because there's not a huge amount of joy to talk about. Leeds 0, Sheffield United 1. Chris Basham 71 minutes. Talk about the symbolism of this one, guys. Is this only just helping Norwich out, or is Sheffield United a realistic contender for automatic?
I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if that is a good. I put that out there, and Joe agreed with me that he thought with Sheffield United was the best result or the worst result for Norwich, because obviously if Leeds had won and Norwich obviously won yesterday, they'd have been Norwich top, but what, 7 points clear of third. So I don't know. Perversely, I know they're 5 points ahead. Perversely, I suppose it was the worst result for Norwich. Was it? I'm not really sure.
I'm with you. Yeah, the thing just to keep it alive was Sheffield United to get a result at Leeds. And you need Sheffield United and Leeds both to be chasing that second spot. And if Norwich, I can't see them having a wobble, but if they have a wobble, I'm pretty certain
they haven't got anyone to play. I think Norwich have got Borough away, who are crap at the moment. Yeah. Both both Leeds and Sheffield United have got to go to Preston.
But you know, there's twists and turns.
On fire.
Easter is when it kicks off, isn't it? There's a few games over Easter.
But all I hope is, I mean, not maybe for our town and the property at Portman Road, but there's something on that last game, and Leeds need something from that last game. Either, well, you think they're in the playoffs, but would need something that last game to make top two, and that would just give us something to look forward to.
Right. So we played Leeds last match of the season, and Leeds win. Leeds need to win to win the title, say.
To stop Norwich winning the title, even.
Do you think that any of our players really understands the symbol? No, how many of them understand the symbolism? Would any of them think, I tell you what, I'm not really going to put in 100%?
No, I think if Norwich don't win the title, they'll finish second. So
it doesn't make much difference, does it?
Yeah.
Let's just quickly skip through these results. We mentioned them already. I guess if you're still harbouring hopes that we can do some kind of miracle survival, Norwich beating Rotherham is handy.
Can I just say, I did put myself through it, and I managed to watch about half an hour of that bloody Talk Norwich City podcast with Jake Humphrey.
If you want to feel angry about something, watch that.
Oh my God.
It's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen. Have a look for that on YouTube. I don't think we want to retweet any of their stuff, but there's an interview with Jake Humphrey and both of the Reeves. And they are pretty adamant they're going up, and it's going to happen.
They're pretty smug
and tempting fate.
Full of self-righteousness.
But they'll probably be right, won't they?
Look at that video is to bookmark it for the end of the season if they happen to finish third. Then it's the time to watch it and enjoy it. Yeah,
agreed. We mentioned them as well already. Borough on a really bit of a crappy slide at the moment. But Villa, 4 wins in a row. Grealish comes back, and now they're beating Borough 3-0.
Yeah. They're in the playoffs as well, aren't they now?
Yeah, up to 6th. Lovely goal from McGinn again, sweeping in there. Elsewhere in the playoffs, Brentford 0, West Brom 1. Weird how you get rid of a manager and suddenly an assistant and 2 wins for James. Is it James Shan? I think.
Shan,
Nice, weird kind
Rich,
of. What's that?
Can I just pick you up on that point? So he says it's weird that when you get rid of a manager and you bring a new one in and you get a couple of wins. Why does that happen to other clubs?
Wow.
We've had a couple of wins. What are you talking about?
We've had 3
a couple of wins.
Well, we got the Reading win, didn't we, last season?
We've had a couple of wins, Dak.
Yeah.
Come on.
We got Reading. And Preston again, dark horses, Preston. Do you remember when Preston, when they played us, and they were still hovering around the relegation zone?
Yeah,
really crap start. And Alex Neil's got them on a really upward trajectory. 94th minute winner.
We've got to go there as yet, haven't we?
Yeah, we do. Friday.
Yeah.
That's Good Friday, is it?
And they're level on points with Villa. Another team on a great charge. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Blackburn 2. Goals from Nuhu, Bannon instrumental. Dominic Iorfa has scored 3 goals for them now. I think he scored 3 and possibly in 4.
Yeah.
Crazy. But Sheffield Wednesday outside bet of the playoffs as well, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they beat us when it was Bruce's first game, wasn't it? They beat us down here. Chow was the last kick of the goal right near the end.
Yeah.
But they weren't anything, were they? Again, I don't think we played particularly good. It was an awful bloody game. But it shows.
Hole 2, QPR 2, Jarrod Bowen with 2. He won't be there if they stay down, will he?
20 goals he's got this season. Did he not beat Hull's all-time record? That's his 8th consecutive.
I think he did. 8, yeah, exactly right. Second one of those really nicely taken as well.
Oh, mate, he's got on big money, you'd think.
Yeah. Stoke 0, Reading 0. That's not particularly one to talk about. Wigan 5, Bolton 2 in the playoffs. Stat, do you think Bolton are gone now? Are they as relegated as we are? I mean, they got more points, but off the pitch.
I'm just looking at they're 5 points ahead of us, and so they are 8 points off safety. I think it's too much. I think it certainly will be on the 6th of April when we go up there and beat them.
Like that.
Let's drag them down. I think if we're going to aim for anything this season, let's see if we don't finish bottom.
That would be nice. In this game as well, look out for this one. Remy Matthews, the keeper for Bolton, bowls the ball out, and it's one of those ones that you don't see for a few decades because people forget about it. I honestly, someone posted I think it was Carlisle maybe. Someone posted it on Twitter, one of these classic 90s Twitter accounts, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Wigan players seen that this week and would have thought, oh, do you know what, I'll do that.
I'll just hang back.
But he's bowled out, he's hidden behind, he's nipped in and crossed it for Powell, he's just tapped in an open goal.
Gary Crosby was the best one I've seen for Forest, wasn't it? Was it Andy Dibble, the goalkeeper, who basically had the ball in his hand and threw it up to kick it, and Crosby was behind him and nipped out and headed it away from him and just walked it in. Yeah, I think it was Crosby for Forest.
So that was the weekend. Ben would usually do the roundup in the league table and all that kind of nonsense, but I don't think there's any joy in talking about that.
Don't forget,
there's no joy.
Ben was at the Leeds Sheffield United game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I must admit, remiss of me. I didn't have time to look at his little piece about it, but yeah, it looked fairly lively, didn't it?
Yeah, and the sending off in the last minute as well. Should we do Two Little Ducks, gentlemen? Because I know how you love it.
Come on.
We're back in the 90s.
I've got nothing. Yeah.
I lend you mine, but yeah.
Love being back in the 90s.
That's not how it works. So I'm taking you to the 8th of May, 1993. John Lyle's Ipswich Town 2, Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest 1. And there are some big names in here. What I will do is I will give you a really important clue for Ipswich. The goalkeepers.
Don't give us a clue.
All right, fine. Stats good with this.
I know the goalkeeper.
Do you need time, or are you ready to jump straight in?
I'll jump straight in.
One Royston Keane. Tick. His last game for Forest before he joined Man United.
Yeah, I shook hands with him on the pitch because everybody was very interested in trying to get to Nigel Clough, who
also played his last match for Nottingham Forest and scored a penalty.
Yeah.
2.
I'll go with the goalie, Dave.
Right.
Andy Petterson.
Nicely done. I thought that would catch you up, but you.
What for who?
For us.
Yeah. Right. Can we
do you know who the substitute keeper was? It wasn't Craig Forrest or Clive Baker. I think it was a young player.
Declan Devine?
No, it was a guy called Winters. I can't remember his
name.
Jason Winters. He was on the bench, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. He didn't come on.
For Town.
Big names here.
What year was this?
93.
93.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kiwamia?
Yep.
Is he still there?
Yep. And who was his partner? Who was his good mate? Yeah.
So let's go through the team. So we got
right
back.
The keeper.
Mickey Stockwell.
Yep.
Yeah. Left back.
Gavin Johnson.
Yes. Yeah, well, keep going.
Would he have been with Walkie? Walkie would have been there, Dave. Do you think, was he a bit fit?
I'll take that. This is good, guys.
93. George Williams, Geraint Williams.
Yes. So I think there's another centre back. I don't know if it was a 5. I'm not sure. It would have been a young player at the time.
Milt, not centre back, but Simon Milton.
Yep. Doing well.
I'm just talking to Dave now. Not
okay,
to you,
fine.
Rich. What about Mason? Would he have been? Was he still there?
No.
I don't know.
Mason,
I'm not looking at Rich.
Hang on, 92, 93.
May 93, right. Let's not go with him.
He was...
So a young centre-half?
Yeah, I think a young centre-half. He left to go to Charlton, I think.
Phil.
Go on, no.
Eddie Ouds.
Eddie Ouds. Loving that. I just need one more. Who scored the goal, actually, or one of our goals. Craig Fimbo's, big fan of him.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Whitten.
Steve Whitten, that is the full house of Ipswich. Do you want to give me any of the subs? Who would have been 2 young players, youth players as well? Midfielder and a defender, I think. I think they came on. Cambridge University.
Oh,
Palmer.
Steve Palmer.
Yep. And scored on his debut at Southend away the season before.
Or Phil Whelan.
Phil Whelan. Fancy any go at that was good stuff.
I want to go with the keeper.
Okay.
Is it an FA Cup winning goalkeeper?
Oh, I
did he win
couldn't
the
tell
FA
you.
Cup?
I couldn't.
No, okay, well,
sorry.
But right, let's go. Who did you say? Dave.
Forrest. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. Forrest. No.
Did I hear? Yeah.
Jemson.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what Dave just said deliberately.
Gemmell.
On the
Scott
yep, Scott Gemmell.
Where was Neil Webb?
And you.
Was he gone to Man U at that point?
I think so. Yeah.
I think
who was the centre half that bloody
they've got a
defender. Des.
Not there at that point. They've got a defender whose surname rhymes with the device that heats water up for a cup of tea.
Steve Chettle.
Ex Sheffield United.
Microwave.
He played in the playoffs, didn't he, against us?
I did for Barnsley, yeah. Another defender for them, ex Sheffield Wednesday and Burnley manager. I think he had 2 spells at Burnley. Now sells luxury cars. Nope, not having that clue.
No.
Any more, or shall I call it there?
Give us a clue on the keeper.
I think. Surname is a chain of mid-range hotels. I think there's one out at Ransom's Euro Park.
Holiday Inn.
Yep.
A hotel.
Jeff Holiday Inn. You got it right. One.
No. What? I'm saying.
We'll call it there. We'll call it there, shall we? Andy Marriott.
Andy Marriott.
Would you have got that one?
Was he a Welsh?
I think so. Was he Grimsby or something?
I'll throw a random name in. Ian Wone.
You already got him.
Okay.
Throw in Gavin Johnson.
How about Roy Keane? Was he?
Yeah, we'll call it there,
Dave was
gents.
in the zone. He was concentrating there.
That was good. Well, you got the whole Ipswich team. You got.
Go on. What's the Forest team? Then?
So Brian Laws was my.
Brian Laws, yeah.
Brian Laws.
Good player he was.
Brett Williams. We remember Brett Williams, obviously. Carl Tylo played for Sheffield United as well, I think.
And Barnsley.
I could have given you a clue that he
Barnsley
works with Mickey Stockwell with his kitchens. Kingsley Black, for those of you who like Pro Set cards. Kingsley Black.
Yeah. He played for Luton before?
He did.
Yeah. Lee Glover was up front. On the bench, though, a young Steve Stone and another famous Forest goalkeeper, Mark Crossley, and a guy called Orligerson, who I have no idea. That was good stuff, gents. I don't know if I just go for too easy stuff because Joe ruined my CV game. But Two Little Ducks, I think you did well there. It was a nice and generous 90s pick for you. Should we do some plugs before we sign off? Any hints or suggestions of any this week in ITFC history? I don't want to put you under the pressure.
Well, no, to be
fair, on holiday again.
I'm off to
Greece,
he's
off.
Right?
Oh yes, yeah.
But Stat was doing. To be fair, you were doing your thing this week, weren't you? Your poll thing.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
I was. Yeah, but that wasn't because we weren't doing the history pod. That's because of work, and then I just sort of vented a little bit. And as I started this little poll thing, I thought, don't start it because I'm then going to be typing the same thing so many times and different players. But yeah, we hope to have a history pod when Dave's back from his third holiday of 2019.
Not a holiday. It's not a holiday. I'm back on. I'm going tomorrow. I'm back Wednesday evening. I'm only going for like 3 days. So
well, I'll ping you some stuff over, and we'll certainly try and get one. If not towards the end of this week, then next week. But yeah, I'm doing a championship champion poll, which is all of the players that made their debut from the rebranding of the second tier to the championship, which was 2004-05. Even that got some people squabbling that I should have done the whole of the second tier, but I just wanted to mix it up a little bit and include players that probably wouldn't win one of these polls.
Just tell me, how far did Darren Curry and Pablo get?
Pablo didn't because he didn't qualify. Yeah, he wasn't legible. He was ineligible. He couldn't write because he made his debut
in the Prem.
Before. Yeah.
I made your debut.
Oh, made his debut.
How many times have you had to explain this stuff? Just quickly,
I wasn't listening.
The North Stand almost broke into an ole Pablo yesterday in honour of Roy Keane, but it didn't really take on, unfortunately.
Shame.
So yeah, is it the final coming up?
Yeah, so we're in the semi-finals at the moment, and it's Luke Chambers who's made the most appearances for us in the championship. I reckon. I just said that off the top of my head, but I think he must have done. Yeah, he's over 300 appearances. He's up against yesterday's frontman Daryl Murphy, who's got to the semi-finals as well. Who would you go for, you two, between Chambers or Murphy?
Murphy.
Chambo.
Yeah, well,
who's the other one, Semi?
And the other one is Bart has got to the semi-finals. He's up against Jason DeVos, who's the only person that hasn't played for us in the last 3 years, which is
that's
disappointing. Darren Curry did quite well, but there were some tough group stages. You know, when you had the group of 128, it was a difficult stage for Curry to get out. I think he was up against Pim Balkestein and George Santos.
Yeah, surely, but it'll be Bart when nailed on winner, isn't he?
I voted for DeVos.
It's very, very, very close.
Shit, and I haven't voted. Have I missed the chance?
No, I think you've got about another hour, Dave. But then what's
going
to happen?
People listening to this though, that'll be it.
It's too late for people. You know, what do they say? You know, you can still vote, but
Chambers v Bart.
So
final.
Starting Sunday night and finishing Monday night will be the third place playoffs. That at the moment that's looking like it will be Murphy versus DeVos, and then Monday night we'll have the battle royale between
real quiz.
Chambers and Bart.
And what do they win?
They just win the fact that they've won one of my polls, and I'm sure I'll copy Bart in.
If Chambers wins, does he win a set of guy ropes for his trampoline?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's and
Bart, Luke,
we've
got your trophy.
Hey,
I brought you some muscle. I brought Bart round.
I've got a mallet to bang it in.
I'm kind of hoping that Bart wins because he's got a Twitter account and Chambers hasn't, so it'd be far better to say and congratulations to Bart and then copy him in, and then who knows, who cares as well, but it gives me something to do.
What's your Twitter handle? Where can we find the vote?
At ChompX3.
Excellent. Dave, where can we find you? At David Diamond 3. You can find me at Ipsrich, and you can find our channel at Blue Monday ITFC, along with all of our other brilliant content, including Ben's interview with the Championship finance guy, Kieran Maguire. He did something with about Norwich and how that has happened on, obviously part of our Championship content.
Well, worth a watch. Yeah, the guy knows his stuff.
Watch.
He's on Twitter, I think, as Price of Football. I think if you put at Price of Football or something, you can.
That's the football. There's also a Norwich one as well, I think.
Yeah. The Norwich guy as well. Yeah, he's done. Yeah.
His name is. Yeah, he's quite good.
And we've got a week or so off.
International break. Well, you have, but the history pod will hopefully.
The history pod,
drop it in next weekend or something.
This is what we do. We like to keep everyone guessing, and we like to keep it, fresh, and we don't. Who knows when it's coming out? We don't even know, do we, Stat?
It will sneak up behind us one day, but yeah, maybe next weekend it could be something that could be dropped. With the no game.
If there's one on that note, did I see a random tweet the other day of one of the games we covered, and there was a guy who said he was the mascot for that game.
Yeah, it was. Well, to be fair, whenever I tweet the game and Rich has tied up his video and stuff with it and stuff like that, I often get people saying, "I was the mascot of that game," and there was one today, whatever the game.
West Ham.
West Ham. Yeah, I think he was the away mascot or something like that. Yeah, there's always one. But whenever we do it on the history show, Dave, and we pull out somebody who lived at number.
We need to get someone who was their address was given out and everything. Yeah, school.
One day
address.
lightning will strike, won't it?
But we're going one better than a mascot by a former player. So as we know, talks are happening. I think our people.
Our negotiations are ongoing, are they? Something to keep out for.
How advanced are they, Stat? How close are we?
They've come up with definitely 2 games, and we're discussing a third and fourth game. But I think it's quite difficult because as a player, what I really liked, actually, going back to this thing that they had yesterday at the club, was I loved the fact that Terry Butcher, Johnny Watt, Brian Hamilton, memory of games that happened in the 70s and stuff. they knew everything, and that sort of gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling, because sometimes you think players, sometimes it's just like a job, and they'll say, oh, how did we get on? I can't really remember that. But yeah, so we've got somebody on who's got some great games to discuss, and I'm really excited.
Are we going to Skype that with him, Stat, or how? Yeah, okay.
No, I think.
Well, maybe logistics guys. As much as I'm sure everyone would love to hear how you're going to sort this all out, we are over the 125 minutes mark. We are recording, Dave. And you were going to Dubai.
I thought we'd gone. I'm not going to Dubai again. I can't go there again.
Okay.
He's off to Greece, not
to Greece.
Dubai.
European tour. Gentlemen, thank you for that. It was really
well
great
done,
fun.
Rich.
And sorry for cutting you off.
No. I carried away completely.
What are you having for tea?
Anyway, Stat, what are you having for dinner? Have you had dinner yet?
I've had my dinner, yeah.
We'll catch you guys soon. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, Rich. Well done, mate.
Cheers.
Cool.
Even better back to Stewart. Oh, he turns the defender sweetly. Round the goalkeeper and scores a magnificent